are worse things waiting, man, than death.
You will be scared shitless.
Good evening, boy.
Hey.
Evening.
This movie, right?
I live in the weak and wounded. What a line.
What an amazing line. It is such a it really encompasses this entire film.
Mm-hmm. This is one of those deep horror movies. Ooh.
It is a deep horror movie, and I don't even really like elevated horror, but apparently I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Session 9, man. Jeez Louise. Imogen, I didn't understand this movie the first time I watched it years and years ago. I needed all my horror on the nose. I did not appreciate elevated horror. I had not much use for like David Lynch or, the kind of Tetsuo the Iron Man, just the weird shit out there that, it's artistic, it's art house horror, it's, but this didn't quite fit that. It had stuff in it that sticks with you, even if you don't quite get what the hell's going on. And I always appreciated that because, even if it's just the fuck you, the most famous David Caruso moment, which became a meme. Because as I said in one of the previous episodes, I keep bumping into just various horror fans and cinephiles in general who cite this movie as one of their favorites or their favorite. And I watched it twice before in preparation. What it is for me is a tapestry of disturbing shit. And if it clicks with you on a personal level, then I want to hear about it because it didn't quite click with me in that way. Apart from I saw it as like mental illness and bipolar disorder, because when you walk into, a piece of modern art, say, or a poem, you bring your own baggage. And so those are the things that I thought of, especially during the actual sessions, right? The 9 sessions that the movie's named after. You have the multiple personalities, and I was just, okay, this is some scary shit, man. This is some deep psychological crap, and it's bleeding over into the lives of just these normal guys that are just trying to do a freaking job. So,
well, there's this idea that it's the genius loci or Loki. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, sure, why not? That is a protector of the Danvers Hospital. And there are 2 ways of looking at this movie as far as like why these things happened, right? Or why Gordon became what he became. And one of them is that he was really in a very weakened state. He was sleep deprived. He was affection deprived also. He, and wasn't eating properly because if you saw, he had a jar of peanut butter with him all the time. And people who just eat peanut butter out of a jar, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah,
like
that's basic protein. Like
that's all you're doing. You're surviving basically. Yeah. And so when we meet Gordon, he's in 100% survival mode, right? He's gonna lose his business. He has a daughter. Emma has a ear infection, and she's had an ear infection since the christening. So she's kept him up. When he goes to hug or kiss or try to be affectionate with his wife Wendy, she kind of rebuffs him. Bitch is cooking, but whatever. She like rebuffs him and is just like, no, later. So he's already hungry, angry, lonely, tired. He's all of those things, right? And so there are 2 ways of looking at it. One is that anyone who allows themselves to get into a state of hungry, angry, lonely, tired, to an extreme, mind you, is capable of anything. Mm-hmm. And then the other way of looking at it is that because he was in a weakened state, he became possessed by the, Simon, basically. But I feel like my idea of this film has changed significantly over the years. Whereas I used to think it was that he was possessed by this spirit. I don't think that anymore. I think that he got driven to a point of sleep deprivation in general will fuck with everybody
in a big way. Yeah.
I mean, really, really a big way, especially.
Yeah, when you allow yourself, like you just said, when you allow yourself to get into that state, you are in a dangerous place. And you need to rely on God and your friends and love and light and sweetness. And there was none of that in that place. And that's what makes it scary, is not only are you super vulnerable, but now you're surrounded by just a bad, bad place. So if you can't allow yourself to get the help you need to get out of the hungry, tired, needy state that you're in, at least make sure that you're in a place, surrounding yourself with, people who can help you and who care about you and who can, be blunt with you and kind. And he found himself in one of the worst places you can be, which is a nasty ass building filled with scary shit. And it's dark and it's creepy and they got a job to do and it's just adding stress to his life. This movie scared the fuck out of me. And not because, there were ghosts and, or there was supernatural horror. I don't look at the supernatural side of it. I don't read it that way. I don't believe there was a ghost or a, demon or anything like that. I think this was just straight up somebody at their breaking point in the wrong fucking place. And it's a warning, to all of us. Like I was just saying, if you are in that place, get the fuck out, of any situation that's going to require you to be able to handle stress and to be able to be around other people and cooperate with other people, etc. So,
well, your brain does this thing when you're awake for too long. It does this thing where I guess they're called micro naps.
Yes.
And it's like your brain shuts you the fuck off, and then it's on autopilot. Kinda. It's just, it kind of takes you out of the equation for a few minutes. And it's like, all right, shut down mode. So when you wake up, you don't even realize what just happened. It's like, drunks would maybe look at it like a blackout, like a mini blackout, I think. I don't know. But I consider this horror movie a Rorschach test, kind of. Like, everybody who sees it gets something different out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's scary. It's scary. To take the demon out of it, and then just kind of have a human reasoning for this and that. And that's even more scarier than I think having a demon in it. Because like Sim said, it's a bad place and you're in the worst place, I guess, to be physically, like the location. Because it's just, that shit plays with your mind. Like the guy in the movie who's terrified of the dark, that scene is really scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not scared of the dark, but it's just that's a terrifying scene, because I always put myself in that guy's position where it's like, if I had a fear of the dark and the generator got cut and I'm in this underground subterranean hallway, like if you've ever been underground, it's dark underground, like in a mine. There's nothing, you can't see anything. So for him, that's scary shit. Just, I don't know. I don't watch this movie with the lights off.
No. I did not. I definitely was under a blanket, and Christopher refused to watch it again because he was just like, I made him watch it when we were first dating, and he was like, fuck this. This is never happening again. I'm not watching this movie. It's too scary for me. So I watched it by myself under a blanket, just like kind of. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Is there any better way to watch a terrifying movie though than by yourself in the dark? I mean, come on.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, the first time I saw this movie, I saw it because it was introduced to me on the 50 greatest horror films you've never seen. And I had very little interest in it because it's an all male cast, for the most part, but there's something about the way they were talking.
Says our Smurfette.
There was something about like just the way that people were talking about it, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I remember I rented it on some streaming service, and as soon as I finished it, I was in such shock that I grabbed my notebook and I immediately restarted it. because I was like, I need to we need to get down with this. Like, I need to I need to go over all of these things, right? Because when you see it and you get the ending, watching it a second time, knowing what you know that you cannot unknow, it's like, bro.
This is
I
the
mean,
definition of one of those movies where it gets better, I think, the more times you see it.
absolutely. I would absolutely agree with you.
With your brain, man. It really does. Like
It really is. There's a lot of wonderful performances in this movie. I mean, you've got Peter Mullen as Gordon. He's actually not a classically trained guy. Like, he's not like a theatrically trained person. He's self-taught. Then you've got Caruso, avoiding taking off his sunglasses to the throes of a Who song. Yeah, right, exactly. So, which, funny, this movie led to him getting cast in CSI. So he hadn't become, the David Caruso. Right.
Yeah, he wasn't Horatio.
He wasn't, exactly. So you had him, and then you had Brandon Sexton as the kid, right? And anyone who's ever seen Brandon Sexton in any other movie, he always plays fucktards. Like, Welcome to the Dollhouse, he's a fucktard. Boys Don't Cry, he's a fucktard and a rapist. He doesn't ever. Empire Records, one of my favorite movies, fucktard. So in this, he actually is he's a lot more understated in it. And I've seen interviews with him, and he is the most eloquently spoken, kind, highly intelligent, not dick. Right? So
somebody give that guy a trophy. Yeah, I mean,
he's very good. He's a very, very good actor in general. And he's quite young too. He's he's fuckloads younger than all the three of us. So you have him, then you have Josh Lucas, as I call him, the, thinking woman's Matthew McConaughey. And he's great. He's got like the crazy, like, porn stash going on, and he's basically a piece of garbage, He's got a wee bit of a gambling addiction. And then you've got Mike, Stephen Jevedon, who wrote the fucking script, and he's fantastic in his role. I mean, he doesn't do any work. Like, let's be honest, Mike is probably the worst asbestos worker in this fucking movie. All he does is lock himself down in a basement and listen to tapes.
Yeah.
How's it going up there, fellas?
Right, and then like tell stories. Like, that's what he does. Yeah. So
I like, what though, even though I'd probably, if I'm doing a job, I'd want to have somebody around that's going to be able to help us get the damn thing done. But it's also often nice to have somebody around who's just like keep you entertained while you're working, like to tell you some strange shit or some cool shit or some funny shit. He's been on like Oz and Law and Order, and all of these actors have been in tons of TV stuff. They have miles long IMDb pages. And then a couple of them, like Caruso went on to do some pretty cool shit. So great cast. The director, oh my gosh. So I did not know this. He did The Machinist.
Yes,
did you see that?
Yes, he did.
And I'm not the biggest Christian Bale fan, to be honest.
Creepy fucking movie.
But yeah, I mean, and he put himself through like hell to play that role. Like, he was skin and bones.
Cans of tuna and apples.
I'm a method actor.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Christian Bale freak out is the best thing ever.
Yes, it is. They're taking a bloody piss. Like, oh boy.
Like, he's just.
But he's Batman.
No, he's not. He's
not. Michael Keaton is Batman.
Amen,
Let's not get it
sister.
Twisted.
all
Boys.
day, every day.
Yes, all day, every day.
Did you guys see the new Flash movie with him in it?
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was so horrible, but it was cool to see him as Batman
I
again.
my soda at the screen. Don't get
Oh, wow.
Batman's not going to sell.
Quite the visceral reaction from Slinky.
Yeah. I've been a Batman fan since I was like 8 years old. Well, actually, earlier than that. That was part of my. Adam West and Betsy Palmer used to take shifts, like just.
Oh, Adam West is man. Rest in peace, buddy. Seriously. What a great guy.
They just can't get rid of a bomb.
He's just fantastic. So great. So the other thing is that, Gordon is desperate. He's a desperate
He underbids the job.
character. He underbids the job. He's like, we can do it in 1 week, not 2 and not 3. 1 week, 4 guys. I got this. He's very, adamant about it because as it is explained later on, if he didn't get this job, he was going to have to fold the company. That was the whole, thing. And I think when people are in positions of desperation, coupled with a lack of self-care, which essentially is what this is, a lack of self-care, coupled with an environment that is basically feeding the darker parts of you, it's like, it's just gonna explode. It's a really, really bad recipe for disaster.
Asylums are bad juju anyway.
Asylums are bad juju. Seriously. Now it's a condo complex, for Christ's sakes.
I mean, you know what? This movie gives me Hellraiser vibes, man. And, I'm big into damnation stories. And so, no, there's no like cosmic horror or anything like that. It's just the feeling, the same kind of feeling that I get when I watch Hellraiser, I get when I watch this movie, which I have now seen 3 times. It's, I always go back to that crappy Robin Williams movie, which, some people love it. I loved it when I first saw it. What Dreams May Come, where he says, hell is your life gone wrong. Is there a better definition of hell? I don't think so. Hell is your fucking life gone wrong. And
he's not wrong.
And most of the time when, we realize we're in hell, we realize that we put ourselves there. It's the Alanis Morris said, it's the good advice that you just didn't take. You had 10 friends telling you to get some fucking sleep. You had everybody and their uncle. You had God Almighty, his hand, lowering from the heavens saying, don't put that thing there. You know better than that. And of course you put it there. Because fuck everybody and fuck existence and, fuck everything. Well, guess what? You just opened up the door and walked right into hell and shut the door behind yourself. That's what this movie makes me feel like, just like Hellraiser. Hellraiser 2 really more than the first one. I have to see. I have to know.
Right. I mean, you have a lot of kind of downtrodden characters in a lot of ways too, because in addition, you have Mike, who is, wanted to be a lawyer. He's smart enough to be a lawyer, but he's doing this for whatever reason. He's also a font of disturbing information, like he is a geyser of just really crazy shit stories.
It's like the guy you don't bring with you to the cabin in the woods, like, because he would read the Latin out of the book, like
yeah. That's absolutely
that guy, man.
Right. Why? That's that guy, totally.
Yeah.
I would imagine Mike listens to a lot of true crime podcasts. A lot of I can see that being his thing. Yeah. So
that's too funny.
And I think that there's goodness in all of these characters. There's a lot of empathy for Gordon and his situation. And there's a scene where, when he kind of goes on his killing spree, where he's running and his eyes are wide open, like a sleepwalker, like a person who's wide awake, like they're micro napping basically. And he's just just
come to like in the middle. It's
wild.
It's wild.
It's the performances in this are just really, really, really great.
Pupils,
things
like that, because I'm like, is it dilated or is
right?
So he's taking it all in. Okay. It's just everybody has the potential to fall down this crevasse.
Absolutely, and so when I got Murphy was 8 weeks old, and 8-week-old puppies don't sleep through the night. And when you are when you deal with mental illness, like sleep is very, very important. And it is absolutely like there are times when you can be on the right meds, but if you're not sleeping, that will actually pull the rug out from the meds actually working for you. So, and I've learned that over the years, but I learned it the hard way. And when I got Murphy only slept for like 2 hours at a time. And so every 2 to 3 hours, I was up, grabbing him, taking him downstairs, and I did this for a good week before I just had a total breakdown. Like I remember sitting on the condo steps crying, and I called my other bipolar friend who raises dogs, and I said, I need to go to the hospital. I can't do this. This was a mistake. And she's like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. You're going to get some sleep. It's going to be okay. And I think that there was no character in this movie to tell Gordon that this shit is temporary. Like, it's okay. If the company folds, it's okay. You can start over. Like, the baby will eventually get well. Your wife will eventually fuck you. Like, everything is temporary. It will pass. But I think that once you get into that really dark state and you're surrounded by people who aren't necessarily they're desperate too, right? Like David Caruso's character is desperate as well. Like he's just like, fuck it, I'm in charge now. Screw, he's like, screw Gordon. Gordon's crazy. Did you know Gordon hit his wife? Like he's fucking off the reservation at this point. So all of these characters are basically not taking Gordon under their wing and saying, right, bro, it's okay. Like it's just money.
Well, and there's a reason for that though. And you brought up two of the main points that I wanted to touch on tonight about this movie. One is that he's the leader. He's supposed to be in charge. It's his company. It's his responsibility.
Yeah, he's the guy everybody's supposed to kind of look up to.
Right.
The Zen master of calm.
Yes.
Yeah. So when
when the leader guy is in the worst situation, that just it's going to affect everybody else. It's going to trickles downhill, right, as they say. Mm-hmm. And the other point I wanted to touch on was deliver us from our self-centered anxieties. You guys have that Episcopal background. You remember the little, speaking together stuff that you used to do? Deliver us from our self-centered anxieties. If you are the center of your own universe and your problems have become the center of your universe and you're in charge, they have now become the center of everybody's universe.
Yeah.
And, it's selfish in a way. It's like, yeah, man, you've got shit going on. Everybody's got shit going on. Obviously, everybody you're surrounded with has got these major problems, but you're supposed to be in charge. You're responsible for these people. Stop thinking about your shit for a minute. Start looking some other people in the eye and thinking about them, and I mean, that's what damned him, was his lack of empathy for his friends and for his, responsibility for his company.
That's why they say don't be a dick, man, because you don't know what everybody else is dealing with.
Peace be with you, and also with you. Yeah,
and also with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
I'm sorry you got pup apnea. But you know what? All's well that ends well. And you can tell that story now, and you came out.
Oh no, I mean, I wouldn't change a goddamn thing. I love Murphy very much, and it was a very short while before Murphy started sleeping for 7 hours. But I knew, based on my own experiences in life, that everything is temporary, and that if I just did what I needed to do, everything was going to work it out, and it did.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Bet your bottom dollar, man.
Oh, you guys, I fucking hate Annie so much. I swear to God, the white.
Come on, Tim Curry.
No. With the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns, I fucking hate Annie.
There we go. There it is.
Who hates Annie? Come on, she's a cute little redhead girl. She's an orphan.
Oh my God,
orphan.
Me and my mother.
It's like one of my favorite movies. My heart is broken.
Oh, wait.
Okay, I got to hear your explanation. How the fuck can you hate Annie? It's like the most charming movie of 1982 or whatever. Like,
oh, sweet Lord, no, it's not. No, it's really not. It's about a fucking annoying little kid, and she just won't stop singing. And
granted. Okay, so it's saccharine. I get that. But
want
come
to
on.
set her on fire.
Oh God, but Carol Burnett.
Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. Performance-wise, obviously, the performances are good. I respect the art. I get that. But fuck no. I would rather take my ears out and set them on fire than have to sit through Annie or Tomorrow. Or although Hard Knock Life is pretty great because Jay-Z. But
yeah.
everything.
Great. That's great. Tell us how you feel.
All right.
You know what? My favorite character in that movie is Punjab. Because he used to do those 7-Up commercials. 7-Up caffeine, never will. Oh, and then they made him a fucking liar because like 5 years later they came out with 7-Up Gold and they had caffeine, and I was like, oh no, Punjab is crying somewhere.
That's so strange. That's not still around, is it?
No, they retconned it. They shit canned it a long time ago, but
Okay.
it was out for a year or two.
There's no caffeinated.
No more 7-Up Gold. Oh, yeah, I mean, they try every now and then. I think every few years they try, let's see if we put caffeine in it if people buy it. But
Sierra Mist Extreme. Yeah.
Just cherry 7-Up all day.
Mm.
But Punjab.
Fuck Annie, give me a Shirley Temple.
Right.
So Punjab is not only my favorite Annie character, it's also one of my favorite words to say because I just picture like this East Indian porn star named Punjab. And
yeah, that charts.
Yeah.
It hasn't been done yet, but
Donald Farmer, I'm talking to you, man.
Oh my God.
Punjab.
So did you guys know anything about the cinematography as far as it's a female cinematographer, it's a female DP. Her name is Uda Bresevitz, and she is German. Shocker. She also did Stranger Things and Westworld. So
The original Westworld? Or
the fucking TV series.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So this thing kind of launched a bunch of really, successful shit, the genesis of, all of our favorite movies, right? Do that, I think. Maybe not Spookies. I don't know. Did anybody from Spookies go on to do just amazing shit?
Of special effects.
Okay.
That,
so there you go.
Like Spookies as a director. Yes.
That's our obligatory Spookies reference for the evening, by the way. So
boom, just like you read about. It's criminal how this movie flew under the radar. I'll say that because I didn't see it until I think 04, 05.
Yeah, Slinky, you said you saw it on IFC, correct?
IFC, yeah, back when they were cool. Now they're
jeez.
Yeah, they're not polar bears' toenails, if you will. They're not cool like that.
Well, so the cinematography, right, was interesting because they shot it on the high definition digital video, which was not really a thing until 2000, like the year before. They filmed it probably during 2000. If it came out in 2001, there were probably a lot of segments filmed in 2000. So it was cutting edge technology. But for whatever reason, just the distributors didn't get on board with it and, give it the coverage it deserved. So
yeah, they didn't really know how to market it. It was a company called USA Films, and they basically kind of reluctantly agreed to be that company with them and to have a deal with them, and then they refused to do anything with it, and it's unfortunate, but it's also the reason why they are not able to make a prequel to it, because USA's subset, I can't think of the name of the company, but they own the rights, and the rights say unless they give permission, which they refuse to and have refused to for 20 years, they cannot make a prequel. They cannot make a sequel to it, even though they made the movie. It doesn't matter. It's not the way that it works with the distribution rights. We all know this.
Right. But then my question is, what the fuck are you waiting for then? What are you holding out for?
I don't think they're holding out for anything. I think I think that certain companies, especially production companies like that, and distributors rather, they don't know dick about art. And they, are like, nobody wants this. Who wants this? Who gives a shit? I didn't even know we had this. That was what they told them. They said, I didn't even know we made this movie. And you want to make a prequel. So yeah, I mean, there are companies out there that are run by just total, douchebags, and stuff like this happens. It's one of the reasons why I'm sure a good portion of a lot of the movies that we grew up with don't have Blu-ray releases, don't have DVD releases.
Yeah.
They're VHS only.
Is it time for the obligatory Rockula reference? Because it's like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened with Rockula. You know, it's like you're sitting on a freaking gold mine, people. This is the fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show of the 80s. Who owns the damn rights? I found out today, by the way, who owns the rights. It's getting done. We are doing Rockula the fucking musical. It's gonna get done. I'm not doing it. I'm just suggesting it and hooking people up to do it.
Like, I'm not doing it. But, you know.
But the writers, the producer, the director have contacted me and said they found out who has the rights. They're going forward with it. So we'll see what happens. But it's that attitude. These are industry people, and their industry is to make and sell movies, not to watch movies and enjoy movies.
Right.
You know, that's their customers. And yeah, if it's like the A&R man, you know, in the music industry, I don't hear a single, you know, that's your job, is to decide whether or not there's a single there. And yeah, listen though, so spookies, man, start talking to some people, dude. There is unlimited potential for nostalgia now. I mean, if somebody wanted to do a fucking Session 9 prequel and they wanted it badly enough, they would track down every motherfucker that was involved in it, start lobbying people, rallying people, get a hold of who the fuck ever owns it, you know, stand outside the doorway with signs and shit and do whatever they had to do. If you love something enough, you can get it fucking done. So,
yeah, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, that's suffered the same fate, because I guess it's bound up in a bunch of BS. And
where are we at? Months now? 28 months later is next.
yes, we're at like we're going to be 28 years later here.
Right, 28 years later.
Because that was 03, so yeah.
Where's Cillian Murphy?
He's in Gotham City.
Yeah, that's what he's doing right now. So
I think the Danvers mental institution is a character in itself.
yes, agree.
Yeah, Massachusetts is a character in itself.
Yeah.
So why not?
Walk
Yeah,
the
for
dog,
sure,
pass
man.
the car, drink of water. I don't say it right, but that place is
like you're from New York. He said it like you're from New York.
well, South Jersey, close enough. But like, that place is freaky, man, and I don't care if I was an asbestos worker or not. I wouldn't go there. There's just a lot of bad juju.
Bad juju. The production, even when they shot this, there were actors who said who said specifically, they were like, it was just rough. Like, there was a genuine feeling of unease just being in the presence of this place that was built in 1894, I believe.
At time in the 1800s, when we were still kind of experimenting with stuff, if you will, like
Okay, I was close. 1878, actually. It was built in 1874, and it opened in 1878. And yeah, it was open during a time period where the mentally ill, as well as people who suffered from addiction, were tossed into these facilities, and
where else to put them?
Electroshock therapy, lobotomies. Like, obviously this is a very big plot point in this film.
What they considered ailments were
Oh yeah, there's a woman over here trying to vote. Oh, I'm concerned. I'm deeply concerned, doctor.
yeah. No, so let's just give her the old lobotomy, and we'll turn her into a droolie.
Lobotomy.
Right.
Lobotomy.
Mortified pride. So that's what happened with, like, mortified. I looked it up. That mortified pride is actually is a form of narcissism. Its actual definition is death by embarrassment. And then the building actually closed in 1989, and the patients were all moved across the street to a different building, but the entire campus was closed June 24th of 1992, and then later on became Danvers Condominium Complex.
What?
I know.
Oh, man. Boy,
I know. Fuck your historic monument.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, just back to the tech history for just a quick second. I mean, one of the biggest draws of this movie for people who love it is the atmosphere, of course. And they were using digital video. And with digital video, you don't need a whole bunch of, spotlights all over the place. You can film in dimly lit areas, and it's authentic dim lit areas. It's authentic darkness. It's authentic shadows.
Yeah, no.
It's what it looks like when you walk into that fucking place. Yeah.
No.
It's man. That's the thing I got from the movie is there's this overwhelming kind of sense of dread when you watch those scenes.
Yes.
There's no music. There's
nope.
Nothing. And even silence.
Even when they're just doing the tour.
Yes.
When they're just doing the tour and they happen upon the art therapy that's on the walls, which was very big in the 70s. And they, they're like, that's fucking weird, right? And even the production people said specifically that they didn't have to do a whole lot of set dressing with this movie.
Enough to turn my ass right the fuck around.
Too bad we can't stay, baby.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Too bad we can't stay, baby. Yeah, no.
If you have $2,400, you too can live in an apartment at Danvers Apartments.
Those aren't ice picks. Those are lobotomy.
By the river. There's no way. Not happening.
On a
So
steady
much
diet
money.
of government cheese.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, yeah, not at all. But the building itself is, to me, terrifying. Just because I don't have to know the history of the place, but it's an asylum. Enough. That's it right there. That's enough to turn me
So
right.
I want to know the biggest question I have, because I love props, and because I can't fucking afford them, so they're like these dreamlike things for me, right? I love props, and I want to know who the fuck owns that mystery wheelchair. Did you read about that?
Oh,
that
mystery wheelchair.
Yes, nobody on the prop crew, nobody ordered that fucking thing, nobody asked for it, and they show up, and there it fucking is, and it's like
Mary Hobbs owns that wheelchair.
That's right.
Yeah.
Simon owns that wheelchair.
Yeah, there you go. Too true.
It's in David Caruso's basement.
He sits in it and listens to The Who.
Fuck the Who.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, he takes his sunglasses off, puts them back.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Except I think in Jade, he doesn't do that. I think in Jade, he just fucks Linda Fiorentino. That's what he does.
Like a redheaded blur in that movie.
So creepy.
I mean, but speaking of sunglasses, I mean, how fucking creepy was it to realize that this motherfucker had been lobotomized, and when you catch up with his ass,
It made
after
me
you get-
so sad.
After you get the lore about the fucking sunglasses, the joke that they make about, well, then the only cure for that is a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, it's
he's got on the sunglasses,
because he's just sitting, he's staring out that window, and and he's like, Hank, we've been looking for you, you're in trouble, right? And he's just like, what are you doing here? And he just keeps repeating it, and it's just like, dog. And then fucking David Caruso finds him down in the the steam tunnels, just naked, or at least in his underwear. Thank you for that. And just repeating things over and over again, because he's fucking fried. He's done,
I mean, lobotomies. Let's just take a moment. Let's have a moment of silence for the lobotomy as a horror element. What was that? From Hell? From Hell had some nice lobotomies. Of course, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, lobotomies, man, that is some freaky shit. Not just lobotomies, right? It's anything that is tinkering with your fucking brain, because that's who we are. If that's gone, we're gone.
Yeah. And I mean, when I went to the macadamia farm nut house, more than, I don't know, there's 2 times in my lifetime that I was committed, when I was much, much younger, in my 20s. When I went the first time, they they were giving people electroshock therapy. They were giving people ECT, right? And I asked people, because I was like, well, what is it? What's it like? And what happens and whatever? And, they're like, oh, it just erases your memory.
Ah.
And that is
And who knows what else?
horrifying to me. I was like, give me the meds, whatever, like whatever you're good. I mean, I was in my 20s and I wasn't even diagnosed as bipolar yet.
What
but
the hell are we but our memories? Like, I remember what happened 5 seconds ago and 5 years ago and 5 decades ago. That's us. We are our memories.
Taken from you, and we found a way to do it. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's creepy. And to watch those people go through that process and what they looked like when they came out of it, I remember just being like, oh, it's not going to be me, I'm going back to doing drugs. And then I did that for like another 10 years. And then
Hulk Hogan, you're aware of the thing that happened with Hulk Hogan's son and his friend?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Have you seen the video of his friend still alive-ish?
No.
Heard.
I'm sure it's
listen,
horrible.
Guys, it's worse than horrible. I mean, you don't want to see it. It's that bad. And we're horror fans, okay? You do not want to see it. You won't forget it. It'll scar you for life. It will traumatize you.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's a fate worse than death. To be lobotomized, to have half of your brain just gone and you're still fucking alive. So there's still a little tiny piece of what used to be you in there somewhere, probably.
Limbo, man. Just on a...
It's like the Metallica video.
Yeah.
It's like one.
I can't remember anything.
It's the Johnny got his gun. It's that thing, of being trapped in your own everything, and you're just like, kill me over and over and over again. Like you're basically trying to send Morse code to try to have someone kill. I've said it. I've actually said this. If I become incapacitated to the point that I cannot talk, I cannot eat, I cannot fuck, done. And I'm okay with that.
So yeah, there's that.
So
Pillow over the face.
I'm a Wellbutrin survivor and 15 years of Wellbutrin. So I've been on board the bipolar express this whole time. Wellbutrin is horrible for bipolar people because it is an antidepressant that makes you manic. And if you're bipolar, your manic is double manic Monday. I read up on Wellbutrin because to me it became a god pill. It's at the end of the day, I was frightened of it because I realized that I don't see myself the way other people see me. Okay. I cannot look at myself and perceive myself through other people's eyes. Mm-hmm. And over time, I started listening to other people and looking at myself when I wasn't manic and looking at my manic state, so videos of myself when I was manic, recordings of myself when I was manic. And I'm like, I'm not a good person. I'm not a nice person. I need to not be on this drug. It's a very scary thing. And the scariest thing that I found out about it was that if you overdose on it, it can cause you to die physically. Your heart will stop and you'll have a heart attack and you'll fucking die. Okay. But your brain won't die. So they'll take you to the hospital. And this happened. You can look it up. A woman had a heart attack from an overdose of Wellbutrin. She died. She was hooked up to the machine and they were just about to pull the plug and they had pronounced her and she woke up. So she had been brain dead for as long as it took the drug to get out of her system. So I thought that is some scary ass shit. You know what? I'm done with fucking Wellbutrin. It helped me fix a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm not on that list. I'm on the do resuscitate list, or I was while I was on that drug because I read about that and I was like, baby, if I'm on the machine, do not pull that fucking plug. At least until the fucking Wellbutrin is out of my system. It scared the shit out of me. So yeah, it's
the inside of the coffin. That's terrifying.
The idea of not being yourself or not being in control of yourself is more frightening to me than death.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. I will absolutely agree with you on that. I think, and my experience with Wellbutrin is almost exactly the same, which is that it was billed as this magic drug, right? And all my friends and I were super excited to take it because it was an antidepressant. But not only was it an antidepressant, it was an antidepressant that was going to make you not eat, and all you wanted to do was have sex. And it was this is the greatest thing I've ever tried in my entire life, right?
I'll take 6 of them.
Right. I mean, you're just this is great. But the problem with it is that any kind of medicine like that has a stimulant effect is going to cause anxiety. It is going to cause, heart problems, heart palpitations, things like that. And then you add things like a shitty lifestyle, like all the caffeine I was drinking and whatever. And it was just your peanut butter. Yeah, apparently. And it was that was it. It was like, I walked into the doctor's office sobbing because I thought that my life was going to end, because that's what Wellbutrin did. Like, I would wake up every morning and just think like, I'm going to die, And so I went into the office and she said, this is a really great drug for depression. This is not a very good drug for bipolar. So we're going to take you off of it. And that was it, but dude, no, I mean, but all the girls, we were all had our little purple pills, man. We were like, I'm not even hungry. Yay.
One final thing on Wellbutrin, on the God pill, is that people talk about, why do people kill themselves? Why the hell would somebody commit suicide? And if you're bipolar, you get the mania side of it and the severely depressed side of it. Was I more likely to kill myself when I was manic or when I was depressed? You'd think it would be when you're depressed, right? That makes sense. You're sad. You feel like you're worthless. You're just in this state of not wanting to do anything at all. And so, yeah, you may think about suicide, but I was at my most suicidal when I was at my most manic, because I had this heightened awareness, this heightened alertness. I could look at my life more clearly and see how I had hurt people, how I had let them down, how I had not accomplished my goals and my dreams. And in those moments, that's when I had to make sure that I surrounded myself with people who loved me, because I would begin to have thoughts like, these people are better off without me.
Yeah.
These people have to put up with a lot of shit from me. And yeah, that's when I was most likely to probably go through with it. If they're better off without me, all right, I love you too much to continue to subject you to the person that I am. So yeah, if you're on that shit and you're having similar thoughts and feelings, first off, make sure that you're surrounded with people who love you. Always contact people who love you. Don't withdraw, because if you withdraw, you're fucked. And get help and get the fuck off of that shit, man. It's not the God pill. It's the fucking Satan pill. Okay. And that's my personal opinion. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not, diagnosing anybody or making any official medical recommendation, but that's my personal experience with it.
The best thing about mental health now versus mental health when this movie was made, for instance, or mental health when Mary Hobbs was a patient, is that we have so many options now. We have so many different options for mental wellness. There is so much more, there are so many more resources today. There's less of a stigma than back then. I mean, if you want to throw toxic masculinity into it, I mean, Gordon probably couldn't go to anyone for help. He probably couldn't. There was probably nobody up here. You know what I'm saying? Like if he's leading all of these, men, there's probably no one he could go and talk to and say.
Manly man usually doesn't have someone that they can
right
cry on their shoulder, or
right.
And then there's the whole pride thing that comes into play, and
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Mary
So what was the scariest? It is time for the scared shit list.
You will be scared shitless.
Yeah, so the scared shit list, in case you're joining us for the first time, is the time on the show when we talk about the shit that scared us the most or that we thought was the scariest. And for me, it's the doorway into his home. It's not necessarily the pot. I don't care. Okay, so did he boil his own baby? Did he dump the water on the baby? I don't even care about any of that. It's the fact that this is his home. He's in the state that he's in, and he's about to walk in that fucking door. There's nothing scarier than that to me.
I would say I will see you and raise you. Him going back to the house where the dead bodies are basically inside the house and just staring at the house. Knowing that he has committed this crime and that he is business as usual, as much as he can be, and just staring at the house. That would be on my scared shit list. And then the other thing is any fucking scene with Simon. Any audio of Simon. I swear to God. The dark thing doesn't really bother me. I don't have nyctophobia, but
know now that I have to get a Simon filter, whatever.
But the whole I live in the weak and the wounded, Doc,
Yeah.
Mary let me, they always let me. Peter was being very bad. I mean, just thought that whole fucking thing. In fact, you can go on YouTube and you can actually just listen to the Simon tapes. That is a thing.
And over and over.
That's because all the phone calls from Black Christmas are on there too. You can listen to just the phone calls.
Oh my God.
The moaner,
right?
It's the uncanny valley. It's that not quite human, but kind of human, uncanny fucking valley, man. It's the vocal version of looking at Michael Myers' face, or the blurred out faces in the ring, that shit. It's just, it's unsettling.
It's, I don't know. It's a combo of things. It's just the fact that, when Simon leaves a person, he's just dormant in that building, just waiting.
Right.
But that line, I live in the weak and wounded, that's fucking scary, man, because there's a lot of people who are a little broken.
Exactly. And whether you're weak and wounded physically or weak and wounded mentally or psychologically.
Play the tapes for me, because a lot of shit happens. It's just the movie itself, the DVD is terrifying. Like when I put it in the player, I'm like, oh shit.
This movie is every horror movie. This movie, takes place in The Shining with an alcoholic who is at his lowest point in his career.
Yep.
That's hell. Okay. That's what this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is The Babadook, which I'm not a big fan of, but I know what they were trying to do. I know what they were trying to say. This is the trauma you went through, and you just can't stop thinking about it, and you're not looking for help. You're focusing on it, or you're having behaviors because of it or whatever. It's the worst shit that happens to you that brings you to your lowest point. Mm-hmm. And it's like we said before, if that's you, you're living the horror movie. This is one of the reasons why I love horror movies and why I want to be scared, is because it's familiar to me. It's home to me. I've been through some shit. I think a lot of horror fans are very comfortable watching horror movies because, yes, this is a story about me. This is somebody who's been through some massive shit or has to deal with massive shit, scary shit every day. There's tons of horror movies where there's grief at the center of the plot. My favorite horror movie, it's a psychologist who is grieving her father, and then she's grieving her best friend, and then she's grieving her career. Grief is hell. It's your life gone wrong. I just lost my best friend, and horror helps me deal with that trauma and with that grief and with that sorrow and with the mania and all the rest of it, because it gives me an alternate reality.
No, I got sick of giving eulogies at my friends' funerals. So yeah, absolutely. Horror movies definitely saved my life, more ways than one. But I still say this is a Rorschach test when people watch it. Yeah, it's pretty effing scary.
It's not a comfort horror watch.
No, this isn't like a go-to horror.
No,
there's
absolutely
no happy
not.
ending.
This is probably a once a year at most. This is kind of up there with like Fire Walk with Me for me. It's like yeah, we need to watch that more than once a year. No. Really?
This is a good one to put your friends through to like kind of trip them out or something. But that's where the fun stops, kind of.
It's not. There really are no moments of levity in the script either. So there really isn't a whole. There really aren't any like calming. Like, oh, it's okay, right? I mean, it's like, no, it's not okay.
Well, David Caruso's middle finger. That's all there is, or is it his thumb? I don't. Whatever it was that he does. Fuck you. And the reason it's so fucking memorable is because it's the opposite of everything else that's going on in the film. Oh, for a split second, you get to see some levity and real life, and then, okay, boom, back to hell.
Well, it's almost that uncomfortable chuckle. Like you,
right.
Then the goes off the rails again. So it's like, yeah. No.
Like, seriously.
On the crazy train.
When that dude shows up in his Trans Am, it's like, that poor bastard. I felt so bad for McManus. Especially because they mentioned McManus so many times in this movie, and you're like, man, this guy's got to be awesome, right? Like, and he shows up, and it's like, what's up, guys? Dead.
So, as a provider, as a mental health provider, and someone who suffers from mental health issues, there was a scene, it's in a couple of scenes, but there's one like kind of slightly extended scene where the first thing I thought of was the privacy of the patients. That's a big deal. If you're in human services, you must always have HIPAA agreements and informed consent. And I found out that all of those pictures that are on that wall when they go in there and they're looking at the pictures of the patients, those were real. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were real patients. They were real people who lived in that fucking place.
That's interesting.
Well, it's scary too. It's like, shit, they're kind of still haunting that place in a way, even though it's been torn down. This movie is going to go on for a long ass time, and they've been immortalized in a scary ass movie in a scary ass place, having the worst moment of their fucking lives. So when I talk about the terror, man, that's what I'm looking for. This movie hit on all cylinders for me. We got the gross out. Right, Stephen King's hierarchy of horror. I fucking love it. The gross out with the lobotomy. You've got the horror of, being chased, or not necessarily being chased, but like just shit that gets in your face. Not a lot of jump scares, but there's some screaming. There's some like horrific stuff, but the terror of this film is next level shit. It's why I felt like I was watching a Hellraiser movie or some kind of cosmic horror thing, even though there's no real supernatural elements per se in this. It's terrifying, man. Terror is the purest form of fear.
Scary, man. It really is. This one, like, there's no boogeyman. There's no, guy in a hockey mask chasing you. The great Cthulhu isn't there. It's just, it sticks with you.
It's you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right.
It's like, long after you watch it.
It's like lives in the weak and the wounded.
Yeah, Liz, that's such a great line, but it's a terrifying line. And when I finished it, I was like, "Why did I agree to watch this movie?" Because
and I mean, the writer Stephen Jevedon basically said, he said two things. He said, "I want people to finish watching this movie and say, I need to take a shower. Why did they do this to us?"
Yep. Exactly.
I wrote a story once describing my early childhood and some trauma that I went through, and I posted it on a poetry forum. This was back in 2002. And I had a seasoned poet, not quite a laureate yet, but a poet who knows poetry and the craft and knows what the fuck they're doing and critiques poetry, read it. And they said, "This is porn. This is pornographic. You cannot post this." And there wasn't anything pornographic in it. There was no sexual stuff. There was no... but it was so real because all I did was say what happened because I have this weird, vivid, long-term memory. It was so real that he called it pornographic and said that this is not for others to read. And I think he was right in a way. If you're trying to express yourself in a poetic way or tell a story, for people to read and enjoy, no, you maybe don't want to talk about the worst moment of your life in graphic detail. But I mean, I got to express myself, right?
I mean, Bret Easton Ellis made an entire career out of that.
Yeah, I mean, so fuck the critical poet 2002.
That's right.
Take your trauma and make the shit work for you. But another person that is very polarizing is Russell Brand. Russell Brand is bipolar, like me, and he is not medicated.
Russ.
It is so rare to find somebody who is wealthy and doing very well for himself publicly, but I just kind of wonder what it's like at home. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we get to see the energetic guy who has a million things to say about, everything under the fucking sun and theories on it all and can talk, rings around you, but would you want to hang out with him?
Right. Hate to be around when the laughter stops.
Yeah, see, there you go. Plus, everything looks perfect from far away. So there's that.
So the bloom is off the rose. I no longer look to people who I think sound smart or who know a lot of things about a lot of shit as heroes. I look at them like just anybody else, and they are doing their thing, and I'm doing mine.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I applaud celebrities who are bipolar who come out and say, like, I am struggling with this. One of, like, Carrie Fisher was a prime example of that because she was able to kind of talk about mania in a way that made it relatable. and that made it kind of go, oh yeah, I can kind of understand why people would be addicted to that, right? Like I can understand why people don't ever want to not be, and just talking about that and talking about her experiences. And then Richard Dreyfuss is also manic depressive. Lots of people have kind of come out and said like what works for them, but what works for people doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I literally do not like subscribe to the idea that one size fits all in any way, whether that's a relationship, a fitness plan, a food plan, whatever, dude. Like I don't believe in that. So for me, as a bipolar person, like my lifestyle has changed significantly over the years. I've added things, I've gotten rid of other things, I've learned what works for me, but I'm in no way gonna fucking like preach to people and tell them what to do for their own mental illness or their own mental health, because I don't know you, I mean, like I don't I'm not able to do that. And there's always more to that story, and there's different levels of bipolar. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand, is that there's bipolar 1, there's bipolar 2, there's cyclothymia, there's unipolar,
bipolar depression, and
bipolar
there's a pill for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's all of these different things, right? So, and I'm not like, I didn't even fucking go to college.
And here's the fun thing about doctors. They don't know what they're doing either. It's all trial and error. Talk to any doctor. It's trial and fucking error.
It absolutely is. I will tell you that all of the meds that I have ever been on in my entire lifetime, save for like the last 5 years, were my father. My father used me as a guinea pig in the family. Here, try this birth control. Here, try this antidepressant. Here, try this thing. This thing just came into the office. Try this. I did that for decades, right? And not knowing what the fuck I was taking, nothing, because the drug reps come in, they schmooze the doctor schmoozes the patient takes their medicine thinking that it's okay.
Yeah, one thing you'll hear from friends of the bipolar, and hopefully, that's part of the problem, is that nobody asked this guy while this shit was going on, because I just thought of bipolar when I saw this guy. Like, this is me at my worst, unmedicated, without sleep, not taking care of myself, having responsibilities and thinking about nothing but the fact that I'm, doing whatever I wanted to. To me, mental illness is the scariest thing in the world, because I suffer from it and I have a family. And it's why Ghost is on my list of one of the scariest movies of all time, because there's a ghost on that train who I very much relate to, and he's damned for eternity to live in mental illness. There's no hope for him. You remember that guy, Vincent Schiavelli? He plays the subway ghost, and that's what happened in this movie. It's somebody who's dealing with mental illness from my perspective. He was dealing with all kinds of shit, right? But when you're down and out and you're dealing also with mental illness, the worst possible thing that could happen to you is to be stuck in that state forever. Actually, that's not the worst possible thing. The worst possible thing is to be stuck in that state forever, and to have to look at what you did to everybody else over and over and over for the rest of eternity. I think I've told you guys this, but my favorite episode of Tales from the Dark Side, the whole reason that the theme song from Tales from the Dark Side plays at the beginning of this show is because there was an episode of Tales from the Dark Side called The Choice of Dreams that captured the idea of hell better than anything I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of fucking movies. I've read a lot of shit. It was just a row of brains in jars having to consciously relive what they did to other people over and over and over.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the reason that I will put this on me, a lot of the reason that I contemplated suicide over the years was 100% because of the damage that I caused because of my mental illness, because of it not being treated, because of it not being taken care of. The other thing, and I've actually talked to Slinky about this, is that when you have a manic episode, like a full-on manic episode, it depletes parts of your brain. It is very similar in the chemical makeup of an epileptic seizure. So you forget the shit that you said. You forget the shit that you did until people come back and they tell you. And that
or you
can
play
be
back a recording of yourself,
right,
saying
or
and doing
that,
these
which
things.
hell, thank God that has never happened to me. but because I just don't have
Hey,
to.
you want to see something really scary?
No, Sims, I do not. So, but that's the thing is it's like when that comes back, you know, one year I wasn't even invited to Thanksgiving, you know? I mean, that's a thing that happened. So, because of my behavior. And it was, you know, off to the races. You know, it's like, I don't want to take this med, or I don't want to take that, or I don't want to sleep, or I don't want to eat, or I don't want to, you know, I just want to like live off this caffeine.
Yeah.
And the way that a manic episode works is that you feel really, really good and you're really hyper focused and you have all of the energy in the whole wide world. And then that shit turns very quickly into anxiety and hatred and agitation and not wanting to be around people. I mean, I did an illustration of like what a list looks like when you're manic and then what a list looks like when you're coming off of the mania, because you look at that list and you're just like you're just like, no, I don't want to do any of this shit. No. And then comes the spiral and you're going down, depression, crash. And then all those great ideas you had, all those creative juices, fucking gone. And you can barely get off the couch and all you want to do is eat and sleep. And I wouldn't wish that on a worst enemy. I don't even have any enemies these days, but like I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like I really don't. I just don't care.
Yeah, I would capsulize that. I would encapsulate that in what just happened between me and Erin Dawn. So I suffer from bipolar disorder, severe bipolar disorder. My father has it. My father murdered somebody and fled to the Philippines. Okay. I have some scary shit that I have to deal with in my life, and I always have to keep it under control. So I'm obsessed with horror, man, because horror is all about mental illness. And so when I say to you, or I ask you, do you want to see something really scary? Why do you think she said, no, thanks, Sims? What's really scary, man? What's actually scary? Scary is you at your worst. She doesn't want to see me at my worst. Are you kidding me? That's fucking scary. She knows it's scary because she has, you know, some similarities to me in her brain chemistry.
Yeah.
So what's scary is you at your worst to someone else is 10 times scarier to yourself when you eventually see yourself at your worst.
Amen, brother.
Yep, there it is.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. The person that I was when I was diagnosed and had no idea what the fuck was going on and was a guinea pig in the medications and try this and this will make you this and now you have to take this to go to sleep and now you have to take this to wake up and you know, like is vastly different than the person I am today. But that being said, I know that I am several shitty decisions away from going right back to where I was.
So here's another problem with bipolar disorder, if you don't mind me cutting in because I'm bipolar. You know, don't ever use your bipolar rampancy as an excuse to cut somebody off. I apologize. Go on.
No, but that's so funny too. Like only a bipolar person would understand.
No, I was going to say it's not just, you know, having a list of cool shit in that moment that you're super manic. Because occasionally, if you write 100 things down that you want to accomplish, you'll get 2 of them done.
2 of them done. Absolutely. And you'll get 2 of them done fucking amazingly.
And that's the problem with addiction and with substance use and with riding the high is that you might actually make $100 million. And in your manic state, if somebody you love says to you, you know what, I believe that you have the capability of making $100 million from your idea and of teaming with people who can help you make a shit ton of money. What's going to happen when you get all that fucking money? What are you going to have lost? Does that money really matter that much to you?
Right.
Fuck me, man. I mean, that's some sobering shit. Want to see something really scary? Yeah. No, the answer to that is no.
Always no. Always
if you
no.
have seen Twilight Zone, the fucking movie, you better know that the actual right answer to that is no every time.
No. every single time.
That movie scared the fuck out of me for that scene alone. But I mean, that movie.
Past the intro. So
Oh my God, we do have to do that movie sometime because it's so fun.
Oh, I'd love to do that movie.
Iconic and scary. And so, what's your okay? I mean, we could do it real quick. I mean, it's our show. What's your favorite segment in Twilight Zone, the movie?
Oh God, you know what? Probably the airplane. The fucking creepy John Lithgow airplane situation.
When I was a kid,
there's a goblin on the wing.
Yeah. When I was a kid, that was my favorite. But as I got older and I'd seen it 100 times, my favorite became the Dante segment with the kid, the wishing kid. You know, he could wish for whatever he wanted. Because I mean, man, that's cool to be able to do whatever you want, and then to have a beautiful brunette like as your personal assistant. And it's like, fuck, this is a dream come true. And that's kind of how I turned out. By the way, I have a beautiful assistant, and I can do whatever I want within reason.
Slinky, what's your favorite segment?
The intro is scary enough for me, but
yeah, right.
A good
and the ending. And the ending too, poor Lithgow, he's just been through the worst moment of his life. And hey, by the way, you want to see something really scary?
I love watching old Twilight Zone episodes and old Alfred Hitchcock.
There's a man
presents.
on the wing of this plane.
I have them all. I love them.
You do not.
Yeah, man, some of those were very scary. The mannequins, I think, probably freaked me out the most.
The monsters are due on Maple Street.
There was one, I can't remember. It was probably in Outer Limits where a guy was living with his parrot or something, and he wished that he just basically was making stupid wishes in his head. You know how they used to do the dialogue in the head thing in the 50s? It was kind of in for a while. Which was nice throwback at the beginning of the 60s with Psycho, right? I'm gonna have a dialogue inside my head. The Haunting is another great one where she's like, oh my God, that's where the companion was. And then, I get fucking freaked out every time I watch that.
People forget William Shatner's in, where their car breaks down in that town and he's putting quarters and nickels in this machine, the little devil head. Looks like
yes. Oh, I remember that one. Yes.
His actions and stuff. And that's pretty scary.
That's scary.
William Shatner.
Yeah. Chris Hardwick had a really great stand-up act, and one of the things he said is that every episode of Twilight Zone should just be called "Nice Try, Asshole."
That's Rod Serling in a nutshell.
Then there's that.
No, Rod Serling, Jesus, man, chain smoking,
yeah, exactly.
Suit, just a bad motherfucker, slick back hair. He didn't give a shit. It's the Twilight. Fuck. He could have talked about anything. You know, you're just the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
Jordan,
Night Gallery, Jesus wept.
Oh, Night Gallery. Yeah.
The caterpillar will forever be crawling around in my brain. Thank you very much, Rod Serling, for making that happen.
Eye of the Beholder. There's so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Howling Man's another one. It's like you can capture the devil, but you can't contain him for very long. Ooh, good stuff. Eye of the Beholder. That's the one with the chick. She's all bandaged up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this is the last surgery. And
oh yeah.
They're all fugly, but she's really pretty. You know.
Vanity.
Hey, honey, room for one more. There's so many good Twilight Zones.
Really, seriously. It's just genius.
And Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Hitchcock Presents is the best.
I was so excited when I found out that The Man from the South was an Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The Man from the South is just, it's not even really that scary, to be honest. But for me, as a kid, reading it and watching it on Alfred Hitchcock, it's a guy who is into betting. He makes crazy bets, okay? And he bets this guy that he can't flick his lighter 3 times in a row. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So the price of losing is that he gets his pinky cut off.
Pinky, that's right.
All right, the end. Okay, big deal. A guy got his pinky cut off. We've been so desensitized, since the 50s that that's not a big deal. I mean,
and there was the one Alfred Hitchcock one that ended with the line, it's like, he's cut out her tongue. Remember that one?
Yes, he was the original Crypt Keeper. Don't
just narrate the intro to a show. It's like, ooh, fuck.
It's a creepy motherfucker.
Himself, man.
He's frightening.
Never-ending story.
He was a real monster too.
Not a good person, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
Problematic as fuck.
Yes.
Poor Tippy.
Oh Lord.
I used to have a lot of those books when I was a kid too. That probably explains a lot.
You sick little monkey.
Well, because I grew up reading all the Agatha Christie stuff because of my mom, and my grandma, was like was really big. So a lot of that stuff kind of seeped in at a very early age, like and then there were none, and
Yes, that's my favorite Agatha Christie book, period. Then there were none. 10 Little Indians. Good.
Yeah. Those old stories from like the Amazon when they were exploring like I would always look up the horror stories from like shark attacks and explorers and horrible things that happened to people when they were in places they shouldn't have been in real life. I got eaten by piranhas because I didn't know that the Amazon had a body of water that was full of fish that were going to fucking eat me. A guy had a fish swim up his penis.
Oh yeah, penis fish, dude. That's a thing.
Don't urinate in the river, man.
Don't pee in the fucking river in the Amazon.
Because it swims up your pee stream, that's fucking terrifying.
I listened to one the other day. So Mr. Ballin, have you listened to him at all? It's The Strange, Dark, and Unusual. And there was one where a guy survived for like days and days and days on a raft out in the middle of the ocean and finally got up the courage to swim back to shore. He just barely makes it. And it happens to be a cannibal island.
That's fabulous.
This person,
and it was real. This shit really happened. Like the scariest shit is all real, man. It's we probably should start doing so what's actually scary, in real life? What's going on? I don't know how we would spin that, but like I would like to get like just a little piece of shit that's going on in the world that we've read about or heard about that's actually scary in reality, because there's nothing scarier than real life,
Well, I mean, I'm in Slinky and I are both in Florida, and Florida is a place where people go when they are at the end of their ropes or the end of their lives.
Come on vacation, leave on
I have somebody who calls me once or twice a year from Florida who used to be a client of mine. That's a perfect description. I don't know, when somebody says the word Florida, the first thing I think of is the Fisher King.
There you go.
I've got a hard arm for you the size of Florida. I'll never forget that line.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, I didn't need to see Robin Williams naked. I really didn't have that on my bingo card for my life, but here we are. But yeah, I mean, the stuff that really the stuff that sort of permeates my brain is the fact that Florida is just wall to wall trash people, and there's a lot of murders that happen, and there's a lot of trauma that happens, and it's just got a nasty past and present for the most part. But I mean, where Bundy got caught, the Gainesville murders,
Gainesville Ripper, that's what they call it.
The Gainesville Ripper, right? And so yeah, I think that's the kind of shit that really scares me. I don't watch home invasion movies. So I won't watch, I won't watch The Stranger. I won't watch the fucking Vacancy. Fuck that, So I don't do home invasion stuff at all. And that is one of my biggest fears, in the fact that I can't shoot a gun. So I
just don't like them. I don't like home invasion movies. I just don't think they're scary. If I want to see, fear, scary stuff, I'll just look in the newspaper when it comes to home invasion shit. That doesn't affect me in any way. But I loved The Strangers because The Strangers, they didn't rely just on the home invasion. They used Uncanny Valley shit. They used Liv Tyler. God bless her.
Just the scariest thing about that movie is the line. Why
you were home.
That's scary. That's terrifying.
That's very terrifying. I mean, I saw Funny Games with my ex-husband. We decided, like, on a lark, totally decided, we were like, let's watch Funny Games. It's Thanksgiving. Right. We watched Funny Games and then literally could not eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
We were mortified. We were like,
maybe Rutger Hauer ruined that for me. Like The Hitcher, to me was like one of the scariest movies of the 80s. And that's what I think of, is like, you're not going to top Rutger Hauer when it comes to like a real person just fucking with you. Like,
and then the Hitcher had a baby and called it Joyride.
Yes.
I have not seen Joyride.
You've seen it.
Have I? Well, it would be besides in real life, but I mean,
where Ted Levine actually plays the voice of the, mad trucker guy or whatever, but it's great. Steve Zahn's in it. I'll watch Steve Zahn read the goddamn phone book.
Steve Zahn. Yeah, it's all that in a bag of chips. That's really good.
Yeah, Kurt Russell should do more horror movies. Go back to his thing roots.
Career out of impersonating John Wayne. Do you realize that?
Yes, he has.
I love it.
In different stages of age too. If you've noticed that he's evolved the the character as
he's working on dying from 60 pounds of undigested beef or whatever it was that took out the Duke.
Jesus Christ. Is that a thing? Is that what killed the Duke?
Well, if a ham sandwich could kill Mama Cass, I guess 50 pounds of undigested beef could kill the Duke.
You know what? I'm sorry.
So to clarify, Mama Cass did not die from choking on a ham sandwich.
Die of that.
John Wayne did not die of 60 pounds of feces. It was a Hollywood myth, legend, whatever. I've heard it since I was a little kid. Same thing with Mama Cass.
Well, we all did. I mean, that's the thing is we all did until I watched the Mamas and the Papas behind the music. And then I was just like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Mama Cass, to me, had the best voice in the world in the 1970s for a white woman. She was just fucking incredible. And it breaks my heart that she died young.
And that song is fucking mind-blowing, man.
Yeah.
Words of Love. So my favorite song that she sings is Words of Love. It's a goofy song, but her vocal on it is just next level shit, man.
Mine is Creek Alley. I love Creek Alley. My mom and I sing Creek Alley all the time. It's like, Jonah and Mitchie, we're getting kind of itchy just to leave the folk music behind. I love it. I fucking love it. It's a great song, and it's autobiographical of the whole like Mamas and the Papas thing, like where they met and
tells the story.
You gotta, when they pass the hat, it's great. No, it's fucking great. And of course, obviously, everybody loves California Dreaming, unless you're just an asshole.
How can you hate California Dreaming? Like, we'll make the villain in our next movie. Right?
It's like not liking Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It's just like, what's wrong with you?
I hate that song. Yeah.
Like, get out of it. Go away.
Oh, that's okay. The song hates you too, motherfucker.
Right.
Clock them. Yeah.
I don't understand.
I mean, there's some shit I feel like deserves to be hated on, but that's not.
No, there are plenty of trust me. There are plenty of as Patton Oswalt said, which I love, is that he said, I don't really hate any bands. There's bands I don't listen to. There's bands I don't care for necessarily. He's like, but I'm not like I was in my 20s, where it's like, if it's not the Pixies, it's fucking crap. He's like, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I said Aerosmith rules. I mean, like, rules what? The old folks home, I mean, that's the thing is it's like I like a very vast, array of music. What rules? Good music rules.
Just good music in general. I don't care if it's classical. I don't care if it's old school country like Waylon Jennings or Hank Williams regular, or even Hank Williams Jr. Fucking, I love All My Rowdy Friends to Settle Down. That is 100% my life. So
Bo Cephas is a musical genius. Let there be no doubt about it. He got his daddy's genes.
So
Vanilla Ice.
So I can appreciate the art in that. I can appreciate the art in performance, and I can appreciate the art in lyricism, because there's a lot of people who fucking hate Rush because of Geddy Lee's voice. But don't start, Slinky.
He's a great bass player.
But lyrically, from a lyrical standpoint, Neil Peart was a fucking genius and a little bit of a prophet.
I'm down with Limelight, man. So I can get behind that song in a big way.
I think that's got to be the best written line in history for me, period, is if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Oh, boy.
Wow, man. Far out.
I know. It's like, I mean, it's not, horse with no name, right. But whatever.
It seems intrinsically wise. Oh my God, America, forget about it.
The heat was hot.
There were trees and rocks and birds and things.
Like, how stoned were you to have to write Horse with No Name?
I'll tell you how stoned they were. My parents listened to that song all the fucking time, man. It was the perfect stoner song, dude. That's
really funny. Yeah.
I never did give nothing to the Tin Man. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
What is the Tropic of Sir Galahad exactly? Explain that again.
Lord. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff where it's like, what?
but America will forever have a place close to my heart for doing the soundtrack for The Last Unicorn. So
Okay. See, I like Sister Golden Hair, and I like Ventura Highway because I there's something about the chilledness about it,
Yeah.
right? It's like Little
it's
River
more
Band.
like it's more
know?
like it's more like the CBD than the THC.
Like Little River Band is pretty much just like I'm literally gonna put this on and go in the pool, and just chill, just chill to it because I'm not like there's nothing particularly lyrically interesting about it.
I mean, they call themselves America, like so even from the very beginning, it's like, okay, what are we going to call ourselves? I don't know, man. Where do we live?
Well,
We can't call ourselves Indiana.
Actually, they called themselves America because they were all boys who met in England. They were stationed.
Get out of here!
Their parents were military, I believe, and they were stationed there. And so all these kids met at this school, and they longed to go home, so they named the band America.
So there you have it, folks. The official original Team America OG. I never knew that, but it makes perfect sense to me because that's what you would call yourself in that situation if you were, a Navy brat or whatever made you end up there. When I was in Naples, Italy, we had like the American kids, So yeah, that's awesome. Never knew that. You are a walking encyclopedia.
I kind of am. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. We should probably wrap up as it is 10:30. My good night, boys.
Take care.
Peace.